viewers, how are you? Happy Valentine to you all. How is the Valentine's Day going? How is the celebration going? Hope you're spreading love. Hope you're showing love to your loved ones, to your friends, to your families, to your well wishers. You know, Valentine's is not all about romantic love. I guess you know that. It is about expressing love to our loved ones. I know we do that on a daily, but today is a special day. A day you're meant to share love. Tell your loved ones how much you love them. And I hope you are doing just that. Welcome back again to Sarity TV, where we bring you interesting topic, real life stories, and real gist. You know how it goes. We bring you hot, back-to-back goodies. You know what I'm saying? I am your host, Gloria. As always, you know me, and I know you very, very, very well. Don't tell me you've not actually followed us on our social media handles. Do not tell me that, because if you haven't, you are missing a lot. Trust me, you're missing a lot. So just rush to our social media handles and follow us on all our social media handles. But I'll be dropping them at the end of the program. So let's move forward. But before we move forward, for me introducing this topic, let me quickly introduce my guests. Because it's someone you might have seen sometime, you might have seen a time or two. So today he's back here in the studio to give people how we always dish it out to you. You know what I'm saying? So help me and join me to welcome Mr. Ifeanyi. Mr. Ifeanyi, how are you?
I'm fine.
I love that smile. I see this Valentine is actually, you know what I'm saying now. Happy Val to you.
Thanks. Same to you.
So how is it going?
Fine.
You're looking fine always. So there's no need to ask you. This Nigeria, they touch you.
They touch me about.
No. Even I sure say viewers will agree with me saying Nigeria, they touch you. All right, Mr. Ifeanyi, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So today we'll be discussing cultural pressure on youths to marry on time. The societal pressure on youths to get married at a young age. That is what we'll be discussing. And you must agree with me that this issue has become, will I say, not just family, that's become a societal pressure for even the young ones. Because once you're in your mid-20s, now everybody will be asking you, when are you getting married? It's not time for you to get married. And those things. And if you check very well, in most homes today, I don't think graduation or success of education is actually celebrated. What is celebrated most is marriage. When you talk about it and bringing this person home and marriage about, now that brings us to the question. Are youth really are they willingly getting married, or they are being pushed into it? What do you think?
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Talking about cultural pressure, once you say the word pressure, I think there is a problem there. Yeah. Because pressure is not a positive word, it's a negative word. So when you talk about pressuring someone, pushing someone to do something, there is always an after effect. Yeah. So now talking about marriage, are youths pressured into getting married, or they do? Marriage is a social institution. And then it used to be regarded as a very sacred institution. So for you to decide to get married, for you to marry, you should know that, yes, you have ticked all your boxes. And when I'm talking of these boxes, you make sure that you are mentally ready, financially stable, and psychologically balanced. Even your emotions, you have to check these things. So, but talking about the marriage and pressure, if you look at our society and the current marriages we have now, you understand the effect of pressure on marriage.
Wow. Yeah, I kind of agree with you with that.
You understand, because the way marriage is now, people see marriage as log in and log out. Exactly. It's just like Facebook, log in, log out. So it's no longer a sacred institution. It's just like, oh, let me get married. If it's difficult, I move. Because
I don't think they actually take their time to understand exactly what marriage is all about.
Yes, that's
it's just a trend.
Yeah,
everyone is getting married. Let me get married.
That's what I'm saying. When now we are talking about pressure,
yeah,
and pressure comes from different spheres of society. We're talking about the cultural pressure. We're talking about societal pressure, family pressure, peer pressure. There are a lot of pressure on people to get married. You see young ladies. My age mates are getting married. They are already scared. They are troubled. Now they want to get married. So you see them, once any person who is available, they say yes to that person without assessing, without going through, without even knowing if I am ready, am I ready for this? So they just want to, yes, let's do this marriage thing. So it's no longer an institution. It's no longer that sacred institution where people groom themselves to walk into. Rather, it's now, let me say, just like your degree, is not something to acquire.
Yeah.
And that is why everybody is now, once you get to a certain age, people are like, when will you get married? Why are you not getting married? And so on. So these are not the question. If you look at the society now and look at what we used to have before, things have changed.
Exactly, yeah.
Things have changed. In those days, our parents will boast of getting married at a young age and so on and so. That was when the world was better. You cannot compare your father who bought land at a very affordable price.
Yes.
In those days, a school headmaster, a school headmistress was like a professor.
Exactly.
The society see him as a they walk around, with their shoulders.
And any man that has a band of yam, like
a civil servant was like a billionaire. Then these people were making money. They were seen as the rich guys. They were average society. They were middle class people in the society. But now we have rich and poor.
Very, very poor.
And if you look at the percentage, the poor people are
way higher than
and if you look at the percentage, the youths are more in that poor because there is no employment. And when you get an employment, when you get a job, low income.
Okay. Before we actually go further on that now, the thing now we're talking about cultural pressure. Yeah. In this cultural pressure now, culturally, let's take our Igbo tradition, for example. In Igbo land, I think it's recent that parents are starting to understand the fact that it is very, very necessary for a child to go to school, to go for a female, especially female, for her to go to school. In Igbo land here, it is once a girl is of the age of 20, 21, they'll start asking you, when is your husband coming? You know, this kind of a thing. Now, I think, aside from the fact that the societal pressure is much, I think the cultural aspect, because we might find it fairer from this side, but there are parts of this country, there are cultures that actually put more pressure on young ladies and young men to get married. And it's not something that someone who is not mentally fit can actually not handle that pressure. So what exactly do you think about the cultural pressure most? Aside from the one that our family puts on and the one we put on ourselves, what do you think about the cultural pressure?
So when you talk about the cultural pressure, let's note that culture and tradition, and they don't come from heaven, they are man-made. Yeah. Now, when you talk about culture, in the olden days, there were little education. Education was brought by the white people, the Western people when they came. So then, only few persons acquired education when it came. Even ladies were not permitted to acquire education. Now, when you look at, let's say, the pre-colonial era, so where there was no education, now culture was there to guide people. Are you getting me? So there were a lot of discrepancies. Ladies were seen as they work in the kitchen, they grow up, help their mother, and then they get married off. So that cultural perspective built up. That was why when modernity started coming up, the issue of ladies are meant for the kitchen people started fighting it. This is not how so it's a cultural practice. So that was why then a lady, once she's at age like that 20s, the family will marry her off. But then it was not a pressure.
It was
like it was like a norm because but now things have changed. There is need for education. There is need for self-awareness. Yes. There is also need for orientation, and even the one they call courtship. That means a period where a man and a woman gets to know what they need to know about themselves before entering into marriage. Because when you court, you now define yourself. You know this person's weakness because
share the same value and all that.
Because one thing about marriage is people don't. For you to get into marriage, you have to know that this person look at the person's weakness. Can I contain it?
Yeah.
Because you are not don't say he's a good man, he goes to church. No, if you look at the good sides, it will entice you. You bring out the bad side and say, can I contend this?
Yes. Can you cope with it?
Yes. So culture evolved, but the mentality of the people didn't change with what was changing. That is why there is pressure. We are now saying cultural pressure.
Yeah.
So you see mothers who got married at a younger age
Still want
still
something.
have, they think that, oh,
Yeah.
I got married
At the age of 18.
at the
So
age
my
of
daughter will
18.
have to get
So
married at the age of
the
18.
thing, so,
Yeah.
but they don't know that things have changed.
Exactly.
Things have changed. Things are no longer the same.
Okay, let me ask you a quick one. Are you married?
I'm not married.
You're not married. So have you at any point been pressured by family? When are you getting married? You're old enough. When are you getting married? Have you actually experienced that pressure?
Not really, but I know that the question keeps popping up
Okay.
here and there.
So but you've not been pressured at all.
Not really. Even I just see it as question because I don't see it as pressure because I understand myself and I know what I want and I know what I'm going for. So just like I said, marriage is not, first of all, you don't allow people that go through pressure to get married, they allow it.
Okay.
Yes.
In what sense?
Because you have to understand yourself and know what you want. You know, if you go to the Western world, some people know, they define themselves. Some people say, I'm not going to get married. Some people enter married and say, oh, I'm not going to have children. Some people enter married, they know what they want. So people, they define themselves. So as a person, you have to define yourself. Am I getting married? Yes. Then what and what should be ready? Some people say, oh, it's not about money. Some people have the money. They get married. And yet, let's take, for instance, the Regina Daniels issue. Yes, you see that at a point in time, the marriage all came crashing, having issues. So the question is, was she ready? Was she under pressure when she married? So what happened if she was not under? So sometimes we don't even see, we may not understand the pressure. Yeah. The pressure may look so pleasurable.
Okay, for you now, what exactly does marriage pressure look like?
That is what I'm saying now. Marriage pressure may look pleasurable. Like it might look enticing.
Exactly.
You may think you are going for what you like, but at a point in time, you are doing something to please people. You see some people may do it to please their parents. Okay. Oh, I saw this person, for his back. He is lying. Marry him. You go. They start
because
doing
because
your parents, they start doing matchmaking for you, and then boom, without even asking yourself, is this what I want? And then you are into the marriage. So it might look good, but maybe along the line you start discovering this person after marriage.
Like, okay, this is not what I was actually looking for. This is what I was bargaining for.
Some people who enter marriage, they say, oh, my mess, look at this person, his child, I want to get married, I want to start having children. And then they enter the marriage, they give birth, and they be like, no.
Okay, so do you think comparison plays a big role in this pressure?
Yes, comparison. Because when you begin to look at others, that's what I'm saying, you have to be self-aware. You have to understand yourself. Because what is good for the geese may not always be good for the gander. So people are different. So if you look at this person, they are having children, and you like baby, and you say, oh, I want to have children, you are entering marriage for the wrong reason. Mm-hmm. I think there was this pastor, I can't remember his name now. I was listening to one of his talks on marriage. He was talking about wrong reasons why people enter marriage. Mm-hmm. And he made a list of reasons.
There are a whole lot of them.
I listed a whole lot of them. So marriage, like, okay, I want to have babies. Matchmaking, just like I said, my mates are getting married. Some people see marriage as an end. I've gone to school, I've graduated, I've gotten a job. What next? Marriage. So it's not, for them, it's just like a ladder.
Yes.
Next, step by step. So for them, they don't even assess if they are ready for marriage. What they know is, I'm done with this. I'm done with
the
this.
Next step should be marriage.
So they just start preparing to get married.
All right. Thank you very much for that one. Now, I was listening to someone, and the person was like saying that, why should a woman go to school? Why should a girl child go to school? That at the end of the day, everything will all end in a man's house. So what's the essence of wasting money on the girl child? Now, so do you think that most families see education or married women or married youths, they see them as unfinished? Because since you are when you are not married, even if you go to school, you've not achieved anything in this life until you are married. Once you answer Mrs. Somebody, you are there. You have accomplished something in your life. Why do you think people see it that way?
I think is a mentality that have been built up for a long time, and is a kind of stigma. So our people in this part of the world, Africans, Nigerians, I think we need to shape our
despite the whole civilization and all.
Despite civilization, I said earlier before that if you go to the Western world, people define what they want. They define it. You see a woman who intermarry and say, I'm not going to carry a baby. They go for that is where all these surrogates, IVF came up from. So they started looking for alternative. So they define it. And just like I said, people see marriage as an end. I've done this, I've done. So it's very unusual in this 21st century, in this modern age, for someone to even say a woman going to school is a waste. As in, that person should be, if there is a zoo, that person should be taken there.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Anyone you see in this 21st century saying that a woman's education is a waste, just look for the nearest zoo and just keep that person. Yeah.
I hope you got that. Now, let me quickly ask this now. Do you think cultural practices like traditional pressure overrides some personal readiness? Like when the traditional pressure is there, tell you that, okay, or let me just use the word cultural practice. Because there are some cultures now that once a woman is 22, 23, you are supposed to get married, whether you like it or not. You must get married. No, do you think it overrides personal readiness? Because maybe at the age of 23, you've not even started thinking of what you want to do with your life. Now, someone is telling you to go and be someone's wife and be in someone's house. Why exactly?
Well, I don't know. Assuming if I can figure out a particular place such culture is taking place, I think is an abuse.
No, let's use the northern region.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. Now, when you use the northern region, even the northern region is worse because you see underage children. So that's why I said it's an abuse.
Okay.
You can't force anyone to get married. People have to, this is a secret institution, and people have to do it willingly. That's why the age of marriage is the adult age, the recommended adult age, where someone can make decision, which is the 18 years. So once you are 18 years, Nigeria law sees you as an adult. You can now make decision on your own. So if you're an adult, you now decide. But no culture should at this point in time force people or stipulate people to get married at a certain point in time.
Yeah.
Because if a culture is going to tell you when to get married, then the culture should build a system
whereby the marriage doesn't fail.
Not just whereby it should build a system for you where you, by this time, you should also have attained a maximum amount of stability. Because you are telling someone to get married, let's say before 25, you are married, then you should have built a structure that the person before that age should be stable financially, emotionally, psychologically, mentally ready. So if the culture is not building that, you cannot just do it because, this is culture. this is a practice.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. Now, our time is fast, but we don't have much time. So quickly before we go, what advice or what way do you think families can actually help the young ones without pressuring them, without making it look like they're pressure? When they are talking to them, what advice or what way do you think they can actually talk to the young ones without making it look like they are being pressured into getting married?
I think what family and the society at large should do is to, with what is on ground, with the face of the society, with the economic situation, with the Nigerian problem, should encourage people to work on their mental stability.
Okay.
People need to be well upstairs. We don't want marriages where a man is sleeping and the wife is pouring him hot water. Because we've seen news. You are sleeping, your wife, we've seen the man who burnt his wife, and there are so many
out of aggression,
many news about ills that are happening in marriage. So what family needs to do is encourage people to build themselves. Are you ready for marriage? Ask questions, sit people down, train them I think we have seminars and all those marriage classes that happens once in a while in churches, schools, and everywhere. So people should attend, listen, and know what to do before getting married. It's not something you just do rush into or dabble into because others are. Some people even I want to marry because they saw Kechi's wedding. She did it was very elaborate. So they want something like that. Yeah. So they get into marriage just because they want something like that. And maybe let's say they have a boyfriend and then they begin to pressure the person. Let's say they will have something like that too.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ifeanyi. That was really, really nice. Though our time was very short, but it was a nice conversation. So viewers out there, thank you very much for watching. Trust me, it was really nice. It was a wonderful conversation with Mr. Ifeanyi in the house. And I believe you've learned a thing or two. And believe me, marriage should be a decision that is made from readiness. You're ready to go into it. You're mentally, physically, psychologically, and emotionally ready to go into it. Not from fear, not from pressure, and certainly not from a deadline. Nobody should give you a deadline to get married. Get married because you're ready, because you know you want to do it, because you know you are ready for forever. It is not a go in and go out something. So I hope you all are really, really going to actually take this, because trust me, a lot of divorces are going up here and there. So let us make this country and this marriage, let us keep it as sacred as it has always been. And thank you very much for watching. And do not forget to follow us on our social media handles. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on TikTok, follow us on subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll be glad to have you there. If you have a question, just drop your question on our Facebook page. We will reply to your question. Until we come in way next time. Bye for now.